Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of Chewy K's Garage. Today we're going to be talking once again about the C10 drift weapon truck. You know, autocross, road course, whatever, you know the deal. It does everything. I've got a few events under my belt now and I've come up with some issues that we need to fix. So we're going to take a look at the rear suspension, go over a few things. You don't want to miss this. So before we get started today though, I don't know if you can see, this place is kind of a burp hole. There's stuff everywhere, so I've got to clean up real quick. I'm going to try the finger snap. Y'all have seen that, right? You snap your fingers. Did it work? Shoot. Let's just do it and get this place cleaned up like right now. What the hell? What the hell? I love Oreos. I'm not sponsored. They're just a damn good cookie. Sorry, nothing I can do. Well, the snap kind of worked. I mean, but piled it up in the middle. Maybe one more. All right. Oh, wow. There we go. Well, that almost looks like it would have taken somebody all day to clean that up. Let's get the truck flipped around, get some shuffling done, and we'll get the truck backed in. And we'll get started on what we're going to do. All right, you guys, let's get the hood put down. We'll get this thing backed out, moved out, and then backed back in, and then I'm gonna go over what it is I need to fix. Let's do it. Remember to always put your hood pins back in. Okay, so here's what we're working on today. So the last event I went to, I tried to dial in the camber more on the Camaro subframe and found that I could not get it where I wanted. If you look at it, it's got a pretty good lean to it. I'm not going to throw a gauge on there, but you'll just have to trust me when I tell you that it's way more than it should be. It's around 2.5, maybe almost 3 degrees of camber in the rear. So there are the eccentric bolts that you use to adjust. That's this guy here, and then there's one below it that you use to adjust the toe and the camber. But what I have found is that if you are too low on these things, you either need a custom control arm, which then you run into axle length issues, I should say, or I am not low enough, or I am not tall enough. So those control arms need to go down. Let me draw it. We'll you know. So I'm going to draw it. I'm going to erase this little diagram here of how we move that truck if you happen to see my Instagram reel. But anyway, let's do it and I'll talk you through it. All right, so now that I got you down on the level, here's the whiteboard. So here's our tire, and I need the top or the bottom. So I need the top to go that way or the bottom to go that way, so I can get closer to 2 degrees of camber, you know, of the tire leaning in. So I've got an upper link, and we'll just make a little bulkhead thing right here. Not to scale, or to accurate. But then there's another control arm that comes down here to the bottom. And what happens is as this goes down, this gets on more of an angle and actually will pull that bottom of the tire in. So it must be the way that GM designed it, so that it's obviously that's the way GM designed it, but if you think about it, it also works well. So when you're putting weight on the tire, it is actually, when it forces it up, it's actually forcing it to camber more, which then helps you corner. But mine is always at 2.5 degrees, so it's way too much. So that being said, I need to lift it up. So you're like, well, hey, just turn those screw thingers like you put in there so that you could do that. Well, you would think that that'd be a great idea, but see how much of an angle those are on? Those are supposed to be straight. So it's side loading this shaft for one. And then if you look down right here, it's a little close to this arm, or to the sway bar arm right there. So it kind of needs to move over, angle it, and then I'm gonna move it down just a little bit, like 1/2 inch. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna cut these mounts off and get a better angle on them so it's a straight shot. So this and this whole thing lines up as if it were one straight line all the way to that bolt down there. Let's get these things cut off. Well, actually, we gotta lift this thing up, take the shocks out, and then cut it out and then work on the angles. But let's get that far anyway. All right, got a box from Summit. I got a truck to open it with. Might as well do a little unboxing, see what we got. Not a sponsor box. I paid for this, obviously. So how many of you guys do that? I mean, and they know how to get you, right? So fuel pump. And then to get my free shipping at $100, I bought a $25 screwdriver set. So this was $72 for the pump, which is actually for the transfer pump, but spend 20 to save 10. Is that right? Is that dumb? Kinda, but I needed a new desktop screwdriver set anyway. And I ordered this stuff yesterday afternoon. It was like 12 o'clock p.m. So it was just afternoon anyway. So for that stuff to show up roughly 24 hours later is impressive. So I got this because it's got the cool little stand. I am always losing these things, so we'll see if I continue to lose them. I mean, maybe kind of gimmicky, I don't know, but I like the idea of the stand being right there on my desktop. So anyway, oh no. So I'm not gonna bore you with putting these in place, but that's what I got. It's a 100-piece screwdriver set that I can't remember, $25 or $29, something like that. So anyway, there it is. All right, let's get to work. Get the wheels off just for ease of grabbing that lower coilover. And if you've ever questioned why your significant other needs a lot of floor mats, at some point, sometime in your life, it will come back around to help you out. Bam-o! Now, a lot of you are probably saying, well, Matt, you're not gonna lay that on there and ding your rim up, are you? I mean, it's already dinged, but some people use cardboard. Another floor mat. This one's rubber. I'm gonna pop the tailgate off just because I'm gonna be in and out of there a lot, so might as well. You guessed it, another floor mat. All right, room with a view, right? Bird's eye, right here. So I'm gonna pop the coilovers out. It's just a couple of 18 or 3/4, I can't remember. We'll find out together. Pop those out real quick and then we'll start looking at angles and cutting those, you know, work is what we're gonna do. Don't know if I need a little bit of pressure or not pressure in there to loosen that bolt out. All right. Let's see if the old wrench to the backside will work. Oh yeah, oh good. All right, so it looks like there's a bit of tension on stuff. So I'm gonna loosen it up real quick and then you'll see why, as those spin around, why I needed to fix this. Because it shouldn't, it's spinning around in there like a U-joint and it shouldn't do that. Okay, bottom one out. All right, we'll spin this one up just a little bit too. Much better. Okay. I'll just undo the top one. Okay, well that went much better, having those loosened up. Pop the top, pop these upper ones off. Not 18, 19's a little big. These those Wentworth bolts. Name the movie. God, even 3/4, either Wentworth bolts or crappy wrenches. Tell you what, the Craftsman fit a lot better than the Husky. And these are 20 years old. And these are what I run. All the Americans. They are dirty. Probably good for a cleanup while they're out. And number 2. Funny thing is, I actually have a whole nother set for the front, but I have not installed them yet. Still needs to be done. And the tape was on there before, so I knew that I was lowering the truck evenly, but we'll have to figure out all of that. Oh man, it's got a little bit of a burr on one of those. And I interrupt myself a lot, have you noticed? So I'll have to reset up how far down they go anyway later on. All right, another one loose. Now we get to cut. All right, got the cutoff wheel. Got my gear. Now we go until we can't hear. Whatever. Well, that wasn't terrible, and I think that's about what I want anyway. I had to cut a little, you know, anyway, so yes, it looks terrible, actually, is where it is. Let's do the other side. Let's get you here. Needs a lot of cleanup. I got some grinding to do.
I won't make you watch that. I'm gonna do that, get the mounts cleaned up, and then I'll show you how I'm gonna line everything up. Slicker and snot. Well, nothing like using your grinder for like 20 minutes and forgetting that your freaking box of electronic stuff is wide open. So yeah, that was awesome. Shot metal shavings all over in it. So probably gonna have to get a new box now because all that hot metal melts into the foam. Perfect.
All right, guys, I've been grinding for what feels like 2 days. Well, that's because it was 2 days. No real reason other than things just got in the way, stuff happens, been working on other stuff. Anyway, let's show you what I've got. All right, so you saw a little bit of sparks fly when I cut that off. So that's this side. The welds did get into the metal a little bit, which is just fine. I'm gonna cut a plate out of some 3/16 inch flat bar and just kind of square that just so it's got a little extra strength there anyway, so it's not mounted right to the side of a big flat piece of metal. And this is only 1/8 inch thick. It is plenty strong, it seems, but I just want to, you know, I just want to make sure because there is a bunch of force that's being pushed down on those. So let's check out the other side. This one had a little bitty gouge in it from the death wheel when I cut that off. But otherwise, you know, hit it with the sander, a 6-inch flat disc sander with 220, and it pretty well cleaned it up. So again, we're gonna put a 3-inch wide square plate on there. So I'll get that on there, get that mocked up, and let's do it. All right, we're gonna hit it with the teeth poker real quick, just clean that off. I just took one right to the forehead, right between the eyes. So that paint is actually on there pretty good. I'm surprised. That's just Rust-Oleum. I must have done a good job. Go me. Well, there are tools for a job, and there are tools for the job. So sander takes out paint way better. And, you know, the dude in the back is like, I told you so. I know, thanks. All right, so we're gonna get cut up to just plasma cut. I got too much junk in places where they shouldn't be. And I just cleaned up. I don't know where my normal scratchy tool is, so I'm just gonna use a file. Yeah, that doesn't work. Oh, there it is. Oh, here's the one I'm looking for. Bam. All right, adjust it down about halfway. Pressure is a little high. Drop that down a little too. Let's see here. Gloves, spectacles, dark ones, good to go. All right, so when I cut these, I usually will just throw another piece of metal on there as a guide. I've seen some people who are pretty good freehand, but that is not me. I'm a little shaky. Too much pre-workout? I don't know. Okay, stand back. Oh, you know what? I always do that. I always forget this. I don't know why. Well, that wasn't what I wanted at all. That did not cut good. Grinding makes you a good plasma cutter too. All right, got the slag cleaned off. I usually just chip it off with a hammer and a piece of metal. It's easier than grinding it off. So I gotta straighten those edges up because I'm a spaz. And then we'll look at tacking them on. Actually, I gotta sand this side off so we can weld to it. But then I'll look at tacking it on and we'll get the mounts mocked up. Okay, so here's what I've got for, well, actually, let me sit down first. Okay, so here's what I've got for mocking this up. Don't mind my ground clamp. So this is just a rod that goes down to mount to where the shock was. And then for the top, I don't think this is the right, but so that slides down and fits pretty tight on that, and I really don't know why I didn't think of that before to line this up. So looks like this one is close-ish on this side, but the other side's got to be cut off flat. Top's gonna have to be cut off flat, and I have to reuse this because I don't have more sleeves. So, but anyways, this is gonna help me stand this thing up better. So this is, it actually needs to go right about there. So I've got to slide this thing over just a little bit. But anyway, so that's the plan. I'm gonna mock it up and get tacked in place. But let's go to there. All right, so the plate is tacked on there. I'm gonna whack this ear off now so that I can start fitting this piece and see how far off I am. So it looks kind of rough. I need to take a corner off just a little bit and then bevel the edges, and this bugger will be ready for welding, at least mock up, tack up, whatever. And then I'll fit the, you know the drill. Now, I can take my mount that I just finished up and put it right about there. All right. Okay, so we've got us a mount in place now, and this is actually about an inch down, inch and a half, inch and a quarter down from where it was, which will give me the extra height that I need, because my trouble is I was needing to go down and not up, or depending on how you look at it, needed to go up with the suspension, lift the frame. Anyway, so this thing's on. I think I'm going to leave that in place until I final weld everything, just to make sure it doesn't move, but I think that's what I want, so let's weld it. Okay, so I actually decided to take this thing out, the little gauge or whatever, you know, the piece of metal. It's going to be in the way when I weld, so I don't want that. Might have been a little fast. That's better. Well, that's okay. All right, we'll go across the bottom and should be good. It's gonna be a challenge though, maybe. that quick wire brush. Okay, hit this side with some paint and she's ready to go. All right, well, got the other side done. So the welds turned out, I feel like, a little bit better. This is still cooling. I gotta wire brush it off yet, but all in all, it looks pretty good. While that's drying, while that's cooling, I went ahead and fogged this with some rebuild spray. So some of it's clean, some of it's really clean. So I'm going to work on getting the coilover put back on this side and see how everything fits. I'm hoping it's a lot better. All right, you guys, after a very long, well, a lot longer day than I thought I was going to have it anyway, it is done. I was figuring this to take a couple hours max. Turns out there was reasons why I had it back up, and where it was I should go rewatch my own video, I guess. But I had to clearance the coilover on the bottom and shim it a little bit to get it centered in the control arm down low. So this side, the second side, did take quite a bit longer than the other side, surprisingly, just because of all the clearance issues and stuff that I had with the coilover that I didn't have to do before, apparently. So anyway, plus I did knock out a couple, like 1 or 2 small projects. One, I made some extensions for the exhaust, because I normally run these mufflers when I'm street driving it or autocross or whatever, because you got to be quiet for autocross. Anyway, so got those done so I don't cook the diff when I'm drifting. But that's it. I got to throw the tailgate back on. I do need to replace that fuel pump over there. Still got to do that, but that's a little 10-minute job, and that's it. All right, well, that's done. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Hope you had fun watching. Let me know what you like to watch. What kind of stuff interests you guys? What can I show you that I haven't showed you? So anyway, hope you have a good week. We'll see you next time.